Hello and welcome back to Shoogly Shed Motors. I'm Ewan. This is the project introduction to my new project, Yamaha XJR1300. What can I say about this bike? Well, I've wanted an XJR1300 for quite a while now. It's sort of been my dream bike to own, but there's not a lot of examples out there that are worthy of a project. They're kind of bikes that people keep in good condition and ride it regularly. They're really popular big bikes, so not a lot of them fall into disrepair and are sort of good candidates for a bit of a chop project. What that also means is that they tend to be quite expensive and a little bit out of my price range for just buying a donor bike or a kind of project bike. However, recently this came to my attention in for sale ads. I got it for a really good price. I even managed to work them down from the price that they had it listed at, and I'm glad I did, because you'll find out shortly why. But basically, to give you a quick lowdown, this is a 2002 model. It has 29,000 miles on the clock, not very much for a big bike like this really. It is good from afar, but far from good. Basically, the closer you look at it, or the longer you look at it, the more problems I can see. But to be honest, it doesn't worry me, because this bike, as I say, is going to get complete full rebuild. I'm hoping this is going to be basically the most comprehensive rebuild I've ever done, including the GS500 iron girder. So I'm hoping that this basically will be completely fresh when I finish it, and this would probably be a bike that I want to keep. With that in mind, I'm not going to spare any expense on it. That means it's probably going to be a long-term project purely from a financial point of view. I don't have thousands and thousands of pounds to throw at a bike in one go, so I'm basically going to just chip away at this, do as much stuff as I can, and just buy parts now and then when I have the cash. But I think, I think that's actually quite a good way to build a bike, because you get to know it and you get to love it, and at the end of it you'll have something that you're really happy with. And as with all these things, will it ever be finished? It'll be sort of a long-term ongoing project, I'm sure. I'm constantly upgrading and changing parts, but that's what I like about customizing motorbikes, is that getting your hands dirty is just as much fun as getting out on the road. So without further ado, let's have a couple of close-up looks at some of the eccentricities of this bike. So straight off the bat, you can see that this is not factory paint. The previous owner, I think, fancied himself as a bit of a paint shop demon and has done this tasteful respray job on it. Not very well done either. It's pretty crap. It's pretty orange peeled at the top. It's not really been finished nicely, and it's pretty tired anyway. I know that the MOT on this ran out nearly 10 years ago, so it's been off the road for that long. So actually, maybe the cosmetic side has suffered for it being laid up for so long. Also, they've had a go at the wheels with a really unsympathetic, horrible blue that doesn't match the rest of it. Not too bothered, because actually I'm probably going to consider changing these wheels, maybe going for some spokes. I think that would be quite cool on this. Big beefy forks. I'm probably going to stick with the original forks, to be honest. I like this style. I'd be tempted to put upside downies on it, but actually I think this bike quite suits the kind of traditional style, and they're pretty beefy big forks, and I think they suit the bike quite nicely. So obviously they'll get rebuilt and modified a little bit, but I think I'll probably stick with these forks. Cool sort of big XJR fork brace there as well. This is a fun repair here. Someone's clearly broken the focus on that. Someone's clearly broken the headlight mount at one point. So they have, obviously it's snapped. They've tapped it, or have they tapped it? Or they've just put bolts through it, bolted it back on like that. Nice sturdy repair there. Some lovely mismatching indicators here. Securely attached, as you can see. Some harebrained wiring. God knows what was going on here. It did have a headlight on it, but I've taken that off because it was more than likely going to fall off on the journey back on the trailer. It's the original clocks on it, they're not in great condition. Original levers, it's been changed out to a set of Renthals, I think. Yeah, Renthal bars. Original switchgear, I believe. All of this is going to get changed. I'm hoping to maybe go for momentary switches, clean up the bars nicely. Similar kind of stance, maybe slightly lower rise bars on it, but essentially that will be what I'm planning on the front. It's a big straight 4 engine, 1300 as I say, oil cooled, not water cooled, so that simplifies things a little bit. I quite like that. It's got really quite shiny nice pipes on it, upgraded stainless jobs, so I might try and reuse them, I'm not sure. The end cans obviously will get to. It's carbed obviously, so they'll get fully rebuilt and probably coated in something. What else? Obviously side panels, factory seat, plastics on the back, Ohlins, quite nice. They have also been touched up by hand with a paintbrush, so they will probably need completely stripped and rebuilt and serviced. A matching horrible blue back wheel, but the real fun starts when you pop the seat off. So, I knew already it didn't have a battery. Also, doesn't have an airbox. Not too concerned because I'm probably going to go for some kind of different filter system, but that's fun. Fuses, got a wee fuse box here. Someone's clearly bypassed the main fuse there. That's nice and safe. Nothing like a fire hazard to start you off. Also, starter solenoid cable doesn't actually go anywhere. It's just 2 cables that you poke together to start your bike. Nice and simple. Who needs RFID tags, right? Over here we've got some lovely quality connections. It's nice to see that someone who knew exactly what they were doing has been working on this bike. Just some random terminated cables that don't seem to go anywhere. Yeah, fun. So obviously this bike's going to get entirely rewired, so I'm not too concerned about that, but it is quite funny to see someone else's workmanship. Makes me feel better about what I do. So yeah, as you can see, this bike really is a basket case. The guy that sold it to me, a bit of a wheeler and dealer. He had a few different bikes for sale and a lot of projects as well. He also had his pride and joy that looked to be in really good condition and kept well, so you know, he clearly knows a little bit about bikes. But if you're selling someone a bike, please be honest. Obviously, like, you might not get the money you might have got for it if it had been in top condition, but it's not in top condition. You know, if you're selling a house that has a roof falling down, you sell it for the money it would have been minus the cost of a new roof. That's kind of how it works. There's no point in like hoodwinking someone into buying something that's potentially really dangerous. Obviously, if I didn't know what I know now, having built up knowledge over the past wee while, I could have been walking into a total nightmare with this bike. You know, he was giving it the whole kind of, just needs a bit of this and that, a couple of wee bits fixed, just had the fork seals done on it, all this stuff that makes it sound like, you know, a weekend's work and this bike will go in for an MOT, which is absolutely not the case. Like, there's so many issues wrong with this bike, it could take me a full video to talk them through. I don't really mind because I have, like I say, planned to completely rebuild this anyway, but if I was buying this expecting to just, like I say, do a little bit of work and have a running bike, you're in for a real shock. It really is staggering, like, that someone would sell a bike in this condition, you know, basically lying through their teeth to someone's face about what it is. I you know, took everything he said, you know, with a pinch of salt. In fact, more than a pinch, and because I knew what I was buying, and that's fine, and I was prepared to haggle them down a little bit, and also I knew that these bikes don't come up that often, and I'm going to rebuild it anyway, so I'm not really bothered about lots of the points of condition. But I guess just be honest. If you're selling a second-hand bike or car or anything, and I know it's a cliche in the sort of second-hand motor world that you buy a second-hand car and drive down the street and the wheels fall off, but joking aside, especially with a big motorbike like this, if I didn't know what I was doing and I jumped on it and tried to start the engine and went down the road on it, and this thing with that wiring caught fire, or you know, heaven forbid something else went wrong and I came off, and you know, you're gambling with someone's life. So just be honest. Like, general advice for life, just be honest with people. It'll make the world a better place, and at the end of the day, you can go to bed with a clear conscience. I certainly wouldn't be able to go to bed having sold this to someone with them, you know, expecting to have bought a perfect clean bike. Anyway, rant over. Let's have a look at getting some of the bits off this bike and getting into some of the less obvious details and see if there's any other problems that we can discover. Voyage of discovery. First up, I want to get all the plastic off it, the side panels, the cowl, and probably take the tank off as well. So let's strip it down and have a look what's under the covers. I don't know how well you can see that, but that is shocking. Everything is just like taped together, not attached to anything. Is that the flasher relay, I think? We've got the ignition unit under there. Christ, I mean, it's not even, half it's not even attached. It's just stuff just poked in and flopping about. Like, I don't even know if it's even the loom from this bike. It's all just shoved in there. I'm glad to have that because that's an expensive piece if I had to replace that. Obviously the flash unit's old and crappy anyway, that's going to be gone. The solenoid is pretty tired as well, probably get a new one of those. This is a fun arrangement with the mental cables. I think the best thing I can do is just completely strip all the cables out of this to start off with, just to get them all out of my way, and then I'll actually see what I'm working with. And if I'm going to do any electrics to turn the engine over or whatever, then I can just, you know, rig some stuff together on the fly rather than trying to put any power through any of these cables. I think it's just too much of a fire hazard. Next up, let's get the tank off. I don't even think it's... Nope, it's not attached. Let's just... lift it off, I think, maybe. There we go, it's off. Doesn't sound amazing. Fun. It's funny how much better I feel actually just having that off, and I can see into the bike better, and just actually get a feel for what I'm going to do to it. I'm actually quite excited to work on it. I know it all sounds quite doom and gloom, seeing all the mentalness, for want of a better word. But at the end of the day, it's a project, isn't it? You know, you gotta. What's the point in buying a bike with an MOT and ready to ride? There's no fun in that, right? So I've just pulled the fuel level sensor out from the bottom of the tank, and I think I might have discovered what it is that was making the noise in there. Can you see that? That blue something in there? I think that's a big piece of either a piece of like masking tape, or it might be a rubber glove. Can you see that? Let's have a look. Well, I don't know about you, but that's the first time I've ever found a perished rubber glove in a petrol tank. That's just a perfect example for this bike. Next up, we're going to strip all the wiring out of it just to get it gone, clean it up a little bit so I can see what I'm working with, and like I say, I'm not running any power through any of these cables. It's not worth the risk. quite cathartic getting rid of all those cables. Definitely looks a lot cleaner. It's mad actually that I can't even believe that the bike was running like that. There must have been so many electrical issues, it can't even be funny. Anyway, the cables are gone. Like I say, it's all getting rewired anyway. I've kept a couple of the electrical components, a few resistors, diodes and stuff like that. Just, I don't know, on the off chance that I might need them. Probably not, but I don't know. I can see myself in 6 months' time doing work to this and kicking myself for chucking something in the bin. I don't know. Either way, it's all gone. So what I need to do now is I'm going to strip off the mudguard at the back here, and then that will open the frame up a bit and then get a bit more of an idea for maybe subframe modifications I want to make to it. I don't know, I'm sort of just plugging away here and just seeing what's what and getting the lay of the land. Probably going to go for some kind of keyless RFDI, Bluetooth, something like that ignition, and just as well because I think this is an aftermarket ignition barrel here that has been wrapped in tape, barely even assembled, and doesn't actually fit the housing. I noticed the key doesn't match the key for the fuel cap, so that kind of says everything I need to know. I'm not even sure how it's fitted. That might even just knock out with a hammer. See? Told you. It's always fun when the exhaust isn't actually attached. I genuinely think this bike was chucked together for the photos. Like, there's barely any tight bolts on it. I can even see there's like engine bolts missing. Holy hell, just like, thank God I'm going to be stripping this down anyway. I can't actually believe that this might have been bought by someone who thought they were buying, you know, a usable bike. It's insane. Right, well, that's where I'm going to leave the bike just now. I've stripped off most of the detritus, basically, most of the parts that are just either loosely bolted on or hanging off or whatever. Like I mentioned, I think this might have just been bolted together for photographs, you know, probably. There's so much, I can't say it enough, there's so much wrong with it. If you were expecting to buy a bike that was, you know, ready to go, I mean, you would have been sorely disappointed. That said, I probably paid about the right amount of money for it. I didn't get a total bargain and I didn't get ripped off. I knew that I was going to strip the thing to bits anyway, so I'm not overly concerned, and like maybe a good 50% of the parts are being binned anyway, so you know, I'm not too concerned, and likewise this is just a long-term project, so I'm not concerned about the time it's going to take and the money involved. I'm just going to chip away at it, and I'm probably not going to count my pennies on this one. Depress myself if I do that. Either way, I hope you have sort of gotten a wee bit of an introduction to this this bike, and maybe we can make something, you know, something beautiful out of this ugly duckling. They are total classic muscle bikes. They are meant to be, I've never ridden one, but they're meant to be like so damn fast. I'm not that concerned about the speed really, just I wanted something big and comfortable, big heavy planted bike that's comfortable at motorway speeds, do some touring on it and things like that. So that's the kind of end goal with this thing. I want it to be stylish but functional. I'm probably going to go for some kind of flat brat-esque seat, something I can have two up on it if I want to carry a passenger, and maybe some kind of modular rack system that I can take on and off for if I'm going to carry a pannier at some point, like I say, if I'm going to tour on it. But yeah, I want this to be my bike and my keeper. So I'm not really concerned about spending a lot of time and effort and money on it. I just want this bike to be, you know, bolt for bolt rebuild and make it, make it last a good few years longer. If the clocks are anything to go by, the engine should be in reasonable nick. I'm not going to start trying to turn it over just yet. Having a quick glance at the oil glass, it doesn't actually look like there's much, if any, oil in it. So I'll maybe save that for the next episode, see if we can get the engine turning over and get a little bit of a investigation and see what nick the engine's in before we start, you know, piling too much effort into it. Anyway, like I say, that's where I'm going to leave it today. I hope you enjoyed that tear down and the comedy along the way of a rubber glove in a petrol tank. That's a first. Anyway, hopefully you're excited about this project, and if you are, please do hit that subscribe button, and if you subscribe already, thanks very much. Look forward to the next episodes in this. I'll probably try and get it turned over in the next episodes and hopefully not uncover any, you know, hidden atrocities in the engine. Fingers crossed. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, the usual. Thank you very much. Goodbye. I have genuinely never seen so much electrical tape on a bike.